We have an outbreak of measles. Measles is making a comeback, and partly to blame are the anti-vaxxers, the anti-vaccination crowd that is increasingly against vaccinating. It started in California's Disneyland last month. It has now spread to 10 other states, and it really shows how both misinformation and misguided celebrities can have tragic consequences. And if you stir in some lax state laws that allow for the non-vaccination of children based on so-called religious beliefs, you really have a recipe for disaster. And you might know that in the 1960s, measles killed about 450 people a year and disabled many more. And by the year 2000, it was basically eliminated in the United States thanks to the nearly universal use of an effective vaccine. But last year, we saw 644 cases of measles, and now, less than 1 month into 2015, more than 70 cases have been linked specifically to the Disneyland outbreak. And it might sound small, 70 cases, but they are an outgrowth of this trend that we're seeing where parents are falling under the influence of the anti-vaccine movement, which has in part been fueled by celebrities, in part fueled by the now widely debunked so-called study by Dr. Andrew Wakefield against the MMR vaccine, in spite of the fact that he had a financial interest in a measles-only vaccine. And we still have very high vaccination rates in the U.S. as a whole. But when you start to see decreased vaccination rates in specific areas, and you start to realize that a lot of the risk of non-vaccination is to those who not necessarily will die from not having the vaccine, but might transmit the disease to someone who can't be vaccinated, either because they're immunosuppressed or are otherwise medically compromised. And this is exactly how all of the science tells us that it would happen. And the anti-vaccine parents simply don't care, Lewis.
No, you have to wonder if this will open their eyes at all to the reality of the situation.
And
I
yeah, go ahead.
don't really know. It's hard to say. It's amazing what the internet and word of mouth can do.
Medical ethicist from NYU, Arthur Kaplan, who has been a guest on this program, said, "If you choose not to vaccinate your child and your child infects mine and harms or kills them, I believe you ought to be held liable for your choice, just as we would for a drunk driver." And Kaplan tries to make the case for a sort of civil liability. So we're not talking about it being criminal not to vaccinate your children, but that there could be civil liability in terms of financial restitution. I don't know that we're going to see that anytime soon, Lewis, particularly when religious beliefs are allowed to be used to justify non-vaccination based on state laws. But an interesting concept that Arthur Kaplan is bringing up.
Well, when you talk about slippery slopes, there will be all sorts of slippery slope arguments here with different vaccines and medications and whatnot. That we would really be digging ourselves pretty deep there.